Game time.
Hey everybody, welcome back to NTW. My name is Rob, and yes, it is game time. We are back on World of Warcraft, and we are going to get started on 2 more dungeons. And I can't believe we are already level 42, which opens up quite a few more dungeons. So on deck today, we are going to end up doing Dire Maul, Warped Qaurter, and Scholomance. Should be a couple of fun. Dire Maul's not exactly fun, but Scholomance is a fun dungeon. I'm looking forward to that. Neither one I've done in a while. We'll see how those go. I'm going to get queued up, and we'll come back to you when we get in the dungeon. Alrighty, we are back, and our first dungeon up today is Dire Maul. And it says, built thousands of years ago to house the Qaurter's arcane secrets, the formerly great city of Eldra Tharos now lies in ruin, writhing in warped, twisted forces. Competing covens once fought for control of Dire Maul's corrupted energy, but they have since settled into uneasy truces, choosing to exploit the power within their own territories rather than continue to battle over the entire complex. So here we go. Okay, this is our first actual boss. Dire Maul's Warped Energy Drew. Lathandris from afar, giving her hope of satisfying her unbearable craving for arcane magic. Using the sinews and ligaments of sacrificial victims, she constructed a web to siphon the corrupt power out of the East Wing. To her delight, she discovered that the device has a capacity to gather vast reservoirs of overwhelming strength, enough to destroy all her enemies. First up is Void Bolt. Inflicts shadow damage to a player. Shadow Bolt Valley. Inflicts shadow damage to all players within 301 yards. Curse of Thorns. 50% chance of every melee attack made by the cursed player to inflict shadow damage to the cursed player. Alrighty, moving on. And our next boss here is Hydrospawn. When the Satar Zephrem Thornhoof sought to control the elementals in Dire Maul, he focused on Hydrospawn, who calmly resided in the pool beneath his altar. As he performed his profane sacrificial rituals, the elemental grew agitated and restless, striking out at Thornhoof's demonic minions. As the years passed, Thornhoof used his victims' energies to whip Hydrospawn into unbridled fury, little by little binding its will to the Satar's commands. Now we are up to Zephrem Thornhoof. Desperate to show his worth to the Burning Legion, Zephrem Thornhoof told his masters he could enslave the formidable ancients who still roamed Dire Maul. When his own power proved insufficient, Thornhoof turned to the other living creatures for additional energy, butchering them atop his sacrificial altar and harvesting their essence in their final agonizing moments. Zephrem Thornhoof inflicts shadow damage to all players within 1 yard every 3 seconds for 15 seconds. Thornhoof teleports a player to his sacrificial altar. Sacrifice stuns the sacrificed player and drains their health every second for 6 seconds. Okay, we have come to our last boss for this section of Dire Maul. This is Alzin the Wild Shaper. Alzin the Wild Shaper seeks nothing less than the total corruption of Thelaros. But until he discovers a shrine of Eldathar in Dire Maul, he had little success. With the power of enslaved ancients at his command, Alzin concentrated the vitality of the surrounding forest into his lair, allowing him to manipulate it at will. Alzen the Wild Shaper will use these abilities in his Saltire form. The Innervate poisons, drains mana every 2 seconds for 8 seconds. Wither inflicts nature damage every 3 seconds and reduces their strength by 10 for 21 seconds. And covers himself in thorns. Thorns inflict nature damage to all players that attack Alzen. In his tree form, increases his armor by 2400, increasing the melee damage by 25% for 30 seconds. His direwolf form transforms into a direwolf, increasing attack speed by 75% and melee damage by 50%. And that concludes the first section of Dire Maul. Again, this was Dire Maul, the Warpwood Qaurter. Alright, we are back. We are in Scholomance. The description says, individuals seeking to master the powers of the undead know well of Scholomance, the infamous school of necromancy located in the dark and forbidding crypts beneath Qaurter. In recent years, several of the instructors have changed, but the institution remains under the control of the Dark Master Gangling, a particular sadistic and insidious practitioner of the necromantic magic. Okay, this is our first boss. This is Instructor Chillheart. Course, Introduction to the Dark Arts. Instructor Chillheart journeyed from Northrend to teach aspiring necromancers discipline, harshly punishing those who disappoint her. She commands the icy chill of the north and masterfully uses Scolomance's library to deadly effects. First lesson is Ice Wall. This is an instant death. She will summon a wall of ice that slowly sweeps across the room, instantly killing any player that touches it. Ice Wrath. She causes them to inflict 292 frost damage to all their allies. Touch of the Grave. Icy Touch causes next 10 melee attacks to inflict an additional 602 frost damage. And Frigid Grasp, inflicting 753 frost damage to all nearby players. Stage 2 is second lesson. When Instructor Chillheart physical body dies, the foul magic that animated her escapes back to her phylactery. Fragments of the Instructor Chillheart's soul escape the phylactery and animate the tomes of magic scattered throughout the classroom. Alright, our next boss here is Jandis Barav. Course, Advanced Illusions. Barav's spirit lurked in the recesses of Scholomance for years, but now she has taken a more active role in educating the next generation of Magi. Her vast knowledge of illusions has made her both a valued educator and a dangerous opponent to anyone foolish enough to draw her ear. Wondrous Rapidity. Janice rears her staff back with a flash of wondrous arcane force, unleashing a barrage of attacks that inflict 302 arcane damage in a cone in front of her. Phantasmal Images. At 66 and 33% health, Janice dissipates into thin air, creating multiple illusions of herself. Destroying the one illusion Janice hides behind forces her back into the fray. Okay, we are on our next boss here. This is Rattlegore, Course Reanimation 101. Rattlegore was thought to have been destroyed in Andorhal, but Ganling immediately began preparations to reanimate the clattering terror so he could guard against intruders. The Dark Master sought to make Rattlegore more ferocious than ever, imbuing him with an insatiable desire to harvest raw materials from his enemies. Rustling, Rattlegore dual blades rust with each successful melee attack, increasing damage by 15% but lowering attack speed. Bone Spike launches a powerful spike of bone at a random player, inflicting 602 physical damage and knocking them back a great distance. Bone armor absorbs the effect of bone spikes. Soul Flame, the souls of the dead Bone Weavers continue to torment the living and periodically engulfing a section of the room. Soul Flame, the flame inflicts 200 fire damage every 5.5 seconds and grows in size over time. And then Bone Pile. Bone piles lie scattered throughout the summoning room. Interacting with the Bone Pile grants a player a charge of bone armor.
I am the Dark Master. I command the undead.
I won't let you.
Now turn your lovely rune blades on our guests and fetch me their bones.
I can't.
Okay, we're on our fourth boss. This is Lillian Voss, Course Re-Education. The undead Lillian Voss strangled her father, a high priest of the Scarlet Crusade, for treachery, and then started a rampage that eventually led her into the shadowy corridors of Scholomance. Rather than destroy the intruder, Dark Master Ganling graciously decided to show Voss how to embrace her grim fate. The anger and rune blades she had once directed at the school are now turned toward Ganling's enemies. Stage 1 is Fetch Me Their Bones. Dark Ganling turns Lillian Voss against her former allies, employing her powerful abilities to gather more corpses for his devious purposes. Though she tries to fight against his dark will, she cannot control her actions at this time. And in Stage 2, Your Soul is Mine. When Lillian's health reaches 60%, her will finally breaks. Dark Master Ganling forcefully rips her anguished soul from her physical body and then commands Lillian's soul to attack the players. Okay, we've come to our final boss for Scholomance. This is Dark Master Ganling. Course Advanced Studies. The recent defeat in Andorhal has put Dark Master Ganling in the foulest of moods. More than ever, all students of Scholomance are advised to impress him at every turn. Pupils who dissatisfy the headmaster will be removed from class to perform lab work, or become lab work. First set of moves is Incinerate. Ganling deals 623 fire damage to his current target. Immolate, 498 fire damage, and then inflicts 373 additional fire damage every 3 seconds. Rise. Ganling summons a legion of failed students to fight for him. The students swarm the area, fighting anything they can. While channeling his spell, the Dark Master takes 50% less damage. And then Harsh Lesson. Dark Master Gainling teleports a random player to one of his study rooms for a Harsh Lesson. One side note I did want to add in about this fight is that when we started it, unfortunately, two of the DPS were actually locked out of the room. And unfortunately they couldn't join into the fight until the boss himself pulled them in through one of the abilities. So I thought they were right behind us when we went in there to start the boss, and it was my fault as a tank. I should have looked behind to make sure everybody was there before I started. But once you start that fight, that gate comes down, they're locked out, and it just is what it is. So shout out to them. I do apologize about that one. Alright, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. We got to see 2 more dungeons and learn why we ran what we ran and why we took down those bosses and what they're all about. So if you guys like what you see and you want to see more, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button, share this video around, and leave a comment down in the comment section. And don't forget to hit that little bell icon so you get notified every time a new episode goes online. Again, thank you guys very much for watching. My name is Rob, and always remember, take care of yourselves.